am newscaster George Bentley, and this is Evolutionary News. Today we are going to talk about one of the main mechanisms of evolution, genetic drift. Genetic drift randomly changes the population's allele frequency in one of two ways, the founder's effect or the bottleneck effect. Let's start with the bottleneck effect. It's the random reduction of traits in a population. This random decease of traits stems from the random killing of individuals in a population, which increases the frequency of traits of the survivors and decreases the frequency of traits of the deceased. Factors that can lead to the bottleneck effect are natural disasters, the increase in a population of the predator of the animal, and the overhunting of the population. Speaking of overhunting, let's look at the bearded vulture. This large wingspanned bird is located in the European Alps, which was hunted nearly to extinction in the early 1900s. Today, we'll be interviewing Mr. Jenkins, a survivor of this terrible hunting event. Welcome, Mr. Jenkins. How have the long-lasting consequences of the bottleneck effect impacted your population? Thanks, George, for letting me share my heart-wrenching tale with your viewers. It's really devastating to see the impacts of the bottleneck effect brought upon my population. Back in my day, all the birds were different. We were special. But now, all these youngsters are the same. No individuality whatsoever. In fact, because of all this uniformity, my population has much larger risk of extinction by not being able to adapt to the changes of our environment. Such a tragedy. Oh yes, that's so sad. Tell me, Jenkins, how did your population come back in numbers after all the hunt ceased? Well, these birds from out of town came in, and they really helped the population continue to breed. I think these birds said they were from something called a zoo. I married one. Her name's Melissa, and now we are happily with 5 children, all slightly more unique than the previous generations. These birds being released from the zoo were super important for our population to come back. Without them, I don't think I would have even started a family. Thanks for sharing some insight on how your population has started to recover from being overhunted. I wish your flock well. Sadly, the bottleneck effect isn't the only example of the tragedy of genetic drift. The founder effect can be just as devastating. The founder effect is when a small portion of a population migrates to a new location, and because the founders don't make up the whole diversity of a population, they are at risk of extinction due to their low genetic diversity. Populations of bush warblers started facing the founder effect in 1990, when part of their population relocated to Hawaiian Islands. Today, we will be speaking with Miss Tiffania, the head of the moving committee for the bush warblers. She will give us some insight on how her population has changed due to the founder effect. Hello, Miss Tiffania. I hear you have faced some backlash due to the recent moves of several members of your population. What increasing risks have been brought to attention?
Oh, George, I'm so embarrassed. I had no idea my population would be at a greater risk of extinction because of the move. I saw the Hawaiian Islands, and I thought they'd be a lovely place for me and my besties to live. I didn't know about how it would affect future generations. Oh, did you know that out of all the Hawaiian Islands, the ones with fewer originating founders have less genetic diversity? That means it will be harder for us to adapt to environmental changes in our new home. What a shame.
What a predicament, Miss Tiffania. Hopefully, over time, your population will increase in genetic diversity, once again, due to other factors like mutation, sexual selection, natural selection, and gene flow.
I hope so too, George. I hope so too.
And that's all, folks. Thank you for watching our latest edition of Evolutionary News. Remember to stay diverse and keep evolving.